We're here with two very special guests. These guys here don't need any introduction. I would say that these guys are the legends. I mean, yeah, you guys call me the legend, but I would say you guys are the legends. In the building right now, all the way in California. I know they're touring, doing a thing. Music duo NIIKO X SWAE.
What is up?
How we doing, guys? What's up, Justin?
It's good. We're just, we're in our home studio right now. Been cranking out some tunes. Weekends, been traveling a little, getting to play some cool shows. Just got back from Arizona, which was way too fun.
Yeah, we, like Nick said, we were at Arizona State. We're headed out to Dallas on Thursday, and kind of when we have a couple days in between, we just like to finish up some tunes, start new ideas, make new edits, mashes, all that for a set. We're always staying busy one way or another.
You guys have been a duo for quite some time. You guys have hit the Billboard charts. Congratulations on all the success that you guys have been having in your career. You just recently released a brand new single, Pathway. It's hitting big numbers right now. So let's talk about the brand new single, Pathway.
Let's do it. Well, first off, thank you very much. Your introduction obviously was awesome. You're making us blush a little bit. You're talking us up, but we appreciate you, man. Yeah, so Pathway, that's the second song now we've put out on Revealed Records, which is Hardwell's label, of course. Shout out to the legend. And, one of the cool things about Revealed Records is like Hardwell, as the artist owner of the label, is like very, very hands-on with not only the selection, but the art, the actual engineering of the track. So it's been pretty cool to like kind of work like hand in hand almost with a guy that we've looked up to our whole careers. So that's definitely a cool thing about releasing on that label. But Pathway was one of the first songs we made back in COVID when we kind of decided we were going to table all of our releases and go after like that true NIIKO X SWAE sound, that like we at the time had been aspiring to produce. So we tabled all of our songs for about almost like over a year for sure. And then finally signed a record deal with Armada once we had like 25 demos ready to go. And Pathway, though, was one of the first ones we made after we decided to table everything. So it definitely has like that emotional like meaning behind it, like kind of coming from the time we produced it, which was like in the heart of COVID, where there was like literally like you didn't even know what was going to happen tomorrow. Like we all remember that. But yeah, so that was a fun one. We're happy it's finally out.
You mentioned the style of music that you guys play. What is the NIIKO X SWAE style?
I've been trying to think about that recently, and for us, we do a lot of club shows, and so within our club shows, we like to have a nice balance of like sing-alongs and like bigger, like more bass-driven bangers. So the NIIKO X SWAE sound kind of embodies that. It's music that's palatable, but also goes hard at the same time.
Yeah, and we kind of do have like a little bit of like 1 foot in like the harder style and like 1 foot also in like the commercial, like more like electro house sound, which is like kind of like our song that you mentioned on the Billboard chart, Typical Love. That like is a pretty good example of like our more commercial songs, or like our song Friends or I Ain't Going Home, which have streamed pretty well. Our BB Rexa remix, like that's kind of like our commercial side. And then like our like banger, like festival, like like going hard side is kind of more like the Pathways, the Switchblade, Get Up and Go, like those songs we've released. So we kind of try to have a balance of both, because like for both of us, we grew up like, at least what inspired us to DJ was a lot of it came from like that big room house era where it really was all about the drop. Like it wasn't really lyrically driven, but at the same time, like we also fell in love with like the Calvin Harrises and like even like obviously Martin Garrix kind of has a really good balance. Martin Garrix is a good example, honestly, because he has that balance in both worlds. Like he releases like his song Diamonds or Limitless, like some of his newer ones are like very hard, but he also has like Scared to Be Lonely and some of like the biggest electronic lyrical tracks. So I think that's a good example.
Yeah.
Another duo we really look up to is like Loud Luxury. A lot of like they're like that pop driven house sound is kind of, that has a big influence on our more commercial records. But I think like one thing that is kind of cool about like what we're doing, and at least semi-unique, because obviously we just mentioned Martin Garrix, he's doing it, but like we do really have like almost two different sounds that like work so well together. And I think when you come and see us live like you did, or just for the people listening, like it kind of starts to make more sense, which is cool. Like it's kind of cool to like leave people off with like question marks, because then it makes you want to come see us live and see like, okay, how is this all going to work?
That's true.
You mentioned Typical Love, Get Up and Go. Not too long ago released Get Up and Go. What can you say about the brand new single and the growth and the development, Typical Love, to the stuff that you have been releasing now?
Typical Love is an example of a song that's, more lyrically driven. So that's in one lane. The last two singles we put out are more of our, live like festival. And to touch on Get Up and Go, we also released that one on Revealed.
Mhm.
That was our first release on Revealed. And Get Up and Go has been the intro in our sets for like what, almost a year and a half now, maybe?
No, like not quite a year yet. Because our first show back after COVID was the summer of 21.
It's
It'll
been about a year.
it'll be a year in like August.
Yeah, so it was the intro to our set, and then we finally just got to release it on Revealed, which the response has been awesome.
Yeah, like Frank Walker played it at Ultra main stage.
Yeah, that was
which
really
pretty
cool
to see. Like the support there has been crazy, but yeah, like Nick said, you know, it's been cool because like we went from typical Love and Way That I Moved to then like two completely different styles, like harder track. We kind of like to show our versatility. Like we're not like the type of guys who like are gonna just make like slap house all day or tech house all day. Like we're gonna like constantly play with different genres within like the house world, because like the house, like the 120 to 28 tempo is like kind of our bread and butter, and you know it's really what we play live and all that. So hit all the different genres within that tempo, if you will.
And it all works in our sets, so it's the most important part.
When you guys were coming up with a stage name,
It's funny because I was just DJing before alone as NIIKO, and he was just DJing before as SWAE.
So we always say when we link up, we got really creative with the name and put them together and said NIIKO and SWAE instead of changing it. We're like very ourselves. Like I think that we reflect that a lot on like our social media, especially like everything you see really is just us. So I think it was kind of important for us to like, since we're not going by our full names or our real names, like to at least
have some individuality.
Yeah, like have individuality and like, you know, just at least have somewhat of our names within the project to make it more like personable and everything too. I don't know. That was kind of just like our thought process. Like also, I'm sure, I don't really remember. I'm sure we had all these different like types of names we could have gone for, but a lot of, I don't know, like in like our junior year of college when we were linking up, like everything started to just like happen so fast. Like we started like touring and playing shows like really quick before we were even like really releasing music. Like it's honestly like crazy how that even happened. But
I literally think we just got our first show and we slapped our names together as like a joint show kind of thing, and then we just decided to play every show after that together. So just became a thing. But touch on what SWAE means. Yeah, so SWAE is actually an acronym. It stands for something we all enjoy, which is funny though, because everyone's like, oh, it's like Sway Lee. And I'm like, it's funny because around the same time is probably when Ray Shremmerd was blowing up. But like, yeah, like it was just always, to me, it was just always an acronym. Like it had nothing to do with anything else other than being an acronym. So that's what SWAE stands for. Yeah. And obviously Nick's real name is Nicholas. Nicholas. So NIIKO is, yeah, like a little nickname growing up and stuff. So that's where the names come from.
Run This Town and Typical Love, was that kind of like in the same year, or like those are two different years?
That was the first song.
That was the first song we like ever actually put out. That was like 4-ish years ago. I feel like that song for us, like it was a good song. It was just more of like us trying to like put out like a really good song, just like put us on the map. Like back then when we were releasing, we didn't really know what we were doing still. Like we didn't like, not even really production wise as much as just like having a consistent release schedule, brand, all that. Like we worked with like a really good writer and a really good singer on that song. And it just kind of, it all came together and it was a great song. But like for us, it wasn't really like, you know what I mean? Like it's not really in the tempo of like what we play. And so like we had a lot of fun with that song, love that song, still listen to it every now and then, you know, but that was kind of like the start. That was kind of like us like putting out like a song for the first time and being like, okay, here we go. Taking like criticism and response and like all that, compliments, and like kind of starting to like be like, okay, like how can we create the best music for us? What we want to make, but what people want to hear, what we're playing in our sets, all that. So by the time quarantine finished, we kind of had that all figured, kind of reflect what we want to do going forward. Grouped up and we're DJing and stuff in like 2018 and all that. But like the true project started like kind of around really when COVID broke out. So probably early 2020 is when we like really decided to like, okay, we're going to take releasing music serious. We're going to take production serious, branding serious, all that stuff. Because honestly, like until 2020, we really didn't know what we were doing. Like we were just kind of like going with the flow. We thought we had an idea. Like I'm sure we had a little bit of an idea, but like now we're like, okay, now we know what we need to do. So now we're all locked in.
The group was formed back in 2018. What can you say has been some of the adversities or challenges that the group has had to overcome from 2018 to now? Like what is something that you guys have both learned?
COVID, because that really slowed things down for us touring wise, but it was also a blessing because we got to work on a lot of music.
Yeah.
Do you have any adversities?
Adversities. I mean, yeah, again, COVID's the obvious one. I guess we could talk not so much adversity because like COVID, like that was like a 2-year thing. Like that was like the biggest thing.
We've always kind of just been ourselves on social media, but we really started to be picky on, you know, what we put out there. Honestly, we're not so much picky, but we just don't hold back at all. Like, we just want people to see our true authentic selves. And I think for a lot of people, the social media part is the hardest part of the job. At the end of the day, we're music producers, but social media has become such an important thing, and music in general. So really just kind of learning how to navigate that.
So you both would say that during the COVID time, some of the adversities and some of the things that you overcome was the COVID pandemic. But I mean, look at you guys now. You guys are still strong. You guys are still going at it. So, props to you guys for that.
We're just trying to build as much momentum up as we can. And COVID was low key a good thing for us, but we're glad the majority of it's behind us.
Yeah,
we're ready for these next few years.
We try and take the positives out of it, because obviously it was very negative for everybody, but we take the positives away in the sense that we were able to create like our best music yet. It really gave us the time to focus on our sound, our brand, all of that, our content, everything. So at the end of the day, we made the best of it, and here we are. We came out on the other end.
So we're talking earlier, you guys went to school at SMU. If NIIKO X SWAE wasn't a group, what do you think both of you guys' careers would have been?
Probably real estate. That's what I studied.
I have no idea, because
charity work?
I have no idea. Probably something business related, but yeah, I don't know.
We think this was our purpose.
Yeah, this was our purpose. But I always kind of felt a little bit lost in college, like what I wanted to do with my life, all this stuff. And I just felt like music always was just like the answer. Seeing stuff take off around our junior year, it just gave us the motivation and I guess momentum to say fuck it, let's do this full time. Here we are.
Yeah, for anybody listening, why not take a chance right now doing something that we absolutely love? Because I think later in life, you're going to be way happier that you took the chance instead of passing up on it.
Yeah, exactly. For all the young people, literally take the risk, give it a couple of years and just see if you can't get off the ground or build some momentum. And this doesn't even apply to just music. This applies to whatever you're doing. You got to find something you love and do it, because it's the classic cliche saying that if you love what you do, you're never going to work a day in your life. But it's true. It really is. So, just go out there and give it your all. And
if you have to work another job, come home, grind on music, painting, whatever you want to do.
What was the experience like at SMU?
It was a lot of fun, a lot of distractions, of course, just like any school, but it was a good school. We met a lot of really good people there that are some of our better friends to this day. But it was just great, because being in Dallas, especially for when we were touring and stuff, when you're in Dallas, you're in the middle of the country. So it's pretty much 2.5 hours to fly.
Dallas is such an awesome city. It's a major tour stop. Spend our weekends going to shows. We're both in fraternities, so we did that nonsense. And we spent a majority of the time studying, though. We were really good students.
You guys have had a lot of experiences touring all over the world, being together at SMU. Memorable experiences. Would it be performing in Mexico?
That was sick. That was crazy.
That's where it all started.
Yeah, that was honestly kind of our that was our first real big show. So that definitely will always have a special place.
Point in our career was when we got to play Coachella. That was insane. Coachella, we got a headline Live Miami, and then our first
residencies in Vegas was pretty cool.
And then headlining in Las Vegas. Those three things.
Also getting on the Billboard chart, because that's
true.
That's huge, and that's just something as a kid you grow up and you're you just always hear about Billboard this, Billboard that, and then so to see our names on there next to in front of Doja Cat and J-Lo and shit was pretty funny and cool, and all the different emotions. There's definitely a couple moments where you stop and you're damn, this is really cool. You give yourself a quick pat on the back and you say okay, we got bigger fish to fry, because at the end of the day we want that number one on Billboard, the platinum plaque.
Yeah, because you guys are in the top 10 right now currently for Typical Love,
and then the new numbers will come out probably on I always forget if it's Wednesday or Thursday. I think it's Thursday it comes out.
Yeah, we're eyeing it like a hawk, though.
Yeah, so we'll see.
So earlier you guys mentioned, your inspirations. When you guys are together and when you guys are coming up with a track.
If we're going for a more vocal track, a lot of times, when you produce around the vocal, it's different. You can only go so crazy. But when we're trying to make our bangers, these last two on Revealed, we just open the computer, and throw a kick and a clap in there and start messing around with the bass line or whatever it is, so there's not we try not to limit ourselves. Sometimes maybe you'll have a catchy melody or something that comes up in your head and you'll lay that down first or something.
I've been finding myself in the shower. I don't know why. I get these melodies in my head over to my phone. I'll throw them in my phone. I'll throw them into the project, each little part of the melody I did, and type it into Ableton. But that's one little thing. we obviously draw influence from like the music we're listening to at the time.
Is to have like a couple reference tracks in the project file, something like, especially like one, if you have an idea of what you're trying to go after, or like once you like get to a certain point in that whatever you're messing around with, you're like, oh, okay, this sounds like this, or I want this to sound like that. It's just way easier to have it like have like the drop of your reference lined up to the drop of what you're working on than like having to go back and forth. So honestly, like probably the best answer to your question would be like, in terms of what we're thinking, it's probably more like workflow things than like actual like
totally
like I guess like physical, like, oh, what note should this be, whatever, because that's such like a mindless thing, like just messing around with notes and or whatever, clicking around on your computer now.
Being organized helps us be productive and get these ideas out.
Yeah, he's way more organized than I am. I'll give him credit there.
Thank you, sir.
Is there anything that's been the hardest part about being a DJ group?
A male DJ duo is probably the hardest thing to market in music. So no, I mean, it definitely has its advantages. Like if there's like Nick's definitely a better producer. I feel like I maybe am a little bit more on like the DJ like mash side. Like I'm
live
sets. That's my specialty. So it's really like helpful on like a day like tomorrow when we're getting ready for a show to have like Nick keep working on projects and I'll go take a minute to work on the set. And like when it comes to content, like we're both like really good at creating ideas, but we both have our like he's really good at Photoshop, I'm really good at video editing, so like we kind of put our heads together. Like there is something that's like that we feel is like causing any sort of tension or like a disagreement, like we're just like, yo, let's talk it out right now. Yeah, just like I feel like we're like very similar and very different.
We just complement each other and our strengths and weaknesses.
Like he's the extrovert, I'm the introvert. Like I could just
chill on the couch all day. No, you should have seen this guy at the shows recently.
The chatty Cathy. No, yeah, I've been at the shows. I've been going crazy. We've both been having our fair share.
Yeah.
So how have you both been able to learn, elevate to stay on top of things in your career? And what are the next resources that have helped you guys along the way?
YouTube, especially with production. You don't need to go to a production school anymore. You can literally learn everything off YouTube. Are always like keeping track of like what other DJs are doing on social media and just kind of like bettering our content from it. We're, just doing a little market research.
Yeah.
More on market research, going to shows.
One thing too is like we got to give a shout out to our manager in terms of helping us stay on top of things. Like
That's
he's just
true.
the goat. He's so business oriented and just like it's really helps us with all that. So like I guess a lot of people are like don't have managers and stuff, and they're always like they think you have to. Yeah, it really does help. You don't have to have one, but what we always tell people is like find someone who cares like as much about you and your music and like doesn't want to make a quick buck off of you, and like have them like someone who like really believes in your vision as much as you do, and run with that person. Don't just like sign with a management group or something just because they offer you a good deal or because you think it's going to help. Like you have to have someone who really believes in you as much as you do, and so that's where we give our manager all the love and props. Like he's just the best with all that
he's
stuff.
on it.
Yeah, things like TikTok and social media and just like sticking with the trends and all that. Like there's so many different I guess answers, and there's nothing there, and that's the good thing about music too is there's not like one specific answer.
Our heads are down, we're just working hard, and hopefully it'll pay off, or it will pay off.
In your guys' career, who are people that you guys are mostly thankful for?
Our parents have been super supportive.
They'll come to the shows and party with us. Fans are awesome. Just like really did like we love our agents, we love our management team. I would say our family, our friends are super supportive. We have like the best friends. They come to like they're all coming to our LA show in 2 weeks. They usually like they'll all come out to Vegas. They'll travel with us.
Family, friends, fans, and team.
And as far as the future plans and the future goals that you guys want to accomplish,
we want to be on like the main stage of every big festival, on those on the EDC, the Ultra circuits, the Coachella again, like all that stuff. We want to do world tours, where our headline world tours, all that good stuff. We want platinum records. We want like attainable goals for us is like continuing to do our like we want to do like another like real like big branded tour that hopefully that'll this summer or fall keep hitting like all these major cities across the country, because for us we just want to keep meeting as many people as we can and just keep hitting new places, trying new things, and to get on into the festival circuit, like a mainstay at a bunch of festivals. I think next year you're going to see us on a lot of festival bills, and that's like a good short-term goal for us,
to collaborate with artists that we've always looked up to too. And I think we're hitting some of those goals this year. We can't give you any details, but we have some really cool collaboration this year with some artists that
just keep crossing stuff off the bucket list.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'll see. So guys, stay tuned. Follow us on all of our social medias, all at NIIKO X SWAE. Instagram's probably the best social media for just kind of staying up to date with everything. Twitter, TikTok we have a lot of fun on. So go check all those out, guys. And we want to say shout out to Justin for having us on. Thank you guys, everybody listening. Hawaii, we love you. Hawaii's a special place to us, one of our favorite places to visit. So hopefully we see you guys soon for a big show.
I want to say appreciate you guys and wish you guys all the best.
Thank you so
guys.
much.
Thank you, Hawaii. We love you guys.